So today we're going to be making crumb chicken and veggies in my rice cooker and my George Foreman grill. So this is quite a comfort meal for me because as a Gen Xer, I grew up with this as kind of like a staple dinner meal. And I have to admit, like if I go traveling overseas and I'm eating a lot of foreign food, it's something that I will cook as soon as I get home because it's something I've grown up on and I don't know, it's just a comfort food for me. So in the rice cooker, we're going to put the potatoes, we're going to peel them and chop them into quite small pieces because we're going to mash them. And once we place them in the bottom of the rice cooker, then we'll add our water and we'll probably just fill it up enough so that the water is just covering the potatoes because we don't want it boiling over the top. Then we're going to peel our carrots and dice them into smaller pieces. We're going to then take our broccolini. I don't know, I like broccolini a little bit better than broccoli. I like the hard stems. And so we cut those into bite-sized pieces as well. And I'm just going to pop that broccolini in the colander steamer tray at the top first, so then I can just give that a bit of a wash. So it's just easier to do that in there, even though the carrot should probably go underneath the broccolini to cook because the carrot would take longer. But anyway, that's for another day. So we're just going to whack the carrot on top now with the broccolini. And yeah, then we'll place the lid on top and we will flick the rice cooker into cook mode and let that sit for a while. It should probably take maybe about 20 minutes to cook. So we just keep a bit of an eye on it. And I like to make sure I'm sort of cleaning and tidying as I go because I've got quite a small bench space. So while that's cooking, I'm going to get started on the chicken. So with my chicken, you can buy chicken breast and then just cut them into strips, or you can buy chicken tenders. That's the kind of size pieces of chicken that I use for my crumb chicken, just because I'm using the George Foreman grill. So I just go with, and I like to do the little pieces of chicken because I don't eat it all. I'll try and cook as much of it as I can, but then I leave bits in the fridge so I can kind of eat them on the go as I'm traveling. So yeah, that's why I have the smaller bits of chicken. So in this case, I have bought breast and I have cut it into smaller strips, and I'm just dipping it in the egg first, and then I will dip it into the breadcrumbs. And yeah, just make sure that I'm using one hand for the egg, one hand for the crumbs, and make sure that the chicken is fully covered in all the breadcrumbs. You can buy gluten-free crumbs, sometimes I do, but in this case I couldn't find any to suit, so unfortunately I had to use the wheat crumbs. And so yeah, I'm just cleaning as I go because I do actually have to reuse one of those bowls as well. So I don't know, I don't like to cook in a dirty kitchen either, so that's just the way I like to work. And yeah, this is the carrot and the broccolini just steaming away nicely. We'll give it a bit of a check, and I don't let it get too soft because I do have to put it aside while I'm going, because I can't run my George Foreman grill to cook the chicken at the same time I'm cooking the vegetables, just because I can't draw that much power from my setup. So I'm going to cook it so that it's like just a little bit soft, and then I'm going to take it off the heat, and then the heat from the water that's still in there will keep cooking the potatoes and the vegetables to the side. So yes, and it's playing a bit of Tetris here, trying to move things around the kitchen with my limited bench space. And so yeah, now I can plug in my George Foreman. And so what I do here to cook my chicken is I've got to make sure I put my drip tray on, because I'll put a bit of oil in the bowl and then I will actually dip the chicken into the oil and then put it onto the grill after that, because obviously the grill, it drains away the fat, the George Foreman grill. So with the oil, if I've got it on the chicken, it kind of crisps the chicken up because it stays on the chicken. So yeah, that's how I do it. That's my little workaround. I could probably actually shallow fry them in the rice cooker as well, though, to be honest. Yeah. Now, whilst the chicken is cooking, I will then go back to my potatoes and my other veggies and just give them a check. So the potatoes are cooked enough now that I can mash them, and the other veggies are okay. So I'm going to put the tray with the other veggies to the side with the lid on just to keep them a little bit warm, and we'll scoop out the potatoes because I've got a sink full of suds. I've only got one sink, so I don't want to drain them into there. So yeah, I will just scoop them out of the hot water and give them a mash with my fork. and it's a little bit of a challenge in the smaller bowl, but you know, it's all good. I do have a masher. I don't know why I didn't get it out that day. Yes, so then I get my butter and I will whack a pretty decent amount of butter in there because I don't use milk. I don't drink milk, so yeah, I don't really eat a lot of dairy. I do eat a fair bit of butter, but yeah. So I whack a fair bit of butter in there just to give it that nice creamy texture. And I do put salt in there as well. I love my mashed potato. It's just it really is a comfort food. So yeah, whack a bit of salt in there for flavour as well. And then they turn out quite nice and fluffy, to be honest. They're really, really quite yummy. Yep, it's me confirming. It's all good. So yes, then I'll just flip my chicken over, just because sometimes it does have the oil. It does drain a little bit into the bottom of the George Foreman, so I just give them a flip over because it does still tend to brown them better on the bottom. Yes, and this is my kitchen as I cook, so I do have things placed a little bit precariously because I have limited bench space, but we manage, it's fine. And yeah, then once all that's done, I check my chicken. So I do tend to just cut it slightly just to make sure that it's cooked through. I get a little bit paranoid with chicken. You don't mess with chicken, you got to make sure it's cooked through. And so yeah, once I'm happy that it's crisped up a little bit on the outside with the crumbs and that it's cooked through on the inside, I'll just put it on some paper towels on either side just to drain off a little bit of the oil. It's just a little bit, healthier. And yeah, and then once that's done, we're all ready to plate it up for a beautiful hearty meal for the evening. Look at that. So good. It's a pretty typical Aussie meal, I think, for dinner. But yes, one of my favourites to make. I was glad I could do it in the rice cooker. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you haven't met me before, my name is Christy. I live, work and travel Australia in my van Gypsy. I am an artist and my artwork is available as prints or on t-shirts and bags on my website. The link is in my bio.